Hello, everyone. Welcome to NYK Podcast. This is the Queen K speaking to you guys. So tonight we have Chef Carson, Del Nino. How are you guys doing today?
Right here, you know, right here. It's a beautiful day, Queen K is hosting. Hey,
I
we
know.
just get to sit back.
Yeah, I just heard her voice and my mood just got better.
I'm telling you. Mm.
Yeah. But today we are first, before I continue with everything, you can follow us on IG on NYK Podcast and on the Bird app, Twitter/X at Now You Know One. That is NAYOU No One. So today we're going to start off with the African proverb, and it is he who doesn't know one thing knows another. So, gentlemen, what do you guys think that means?
I didn't hear it
What were
well.
you asking? Yeah, say it one more time, please.
You guys, please don't annoy me today. It says, he who does not know one thing knows another.
Mm. He who does not know one thing knows another. That's a good statement. What does it mean, Karen?
What, did I ask you the question or did you ask like,
You
why
didn't
you
ask a
asking me?
question. You just made the statement. I'm just
Yes,
asking you now, what does it
but
mean?
I asked you, what does it mean?
Oh, you asked me or you asked Donna?
I said, gentlemen, what does it mean?
You have to be specific here.
Be specific. We always are specific. Who do you want to answer this?
Okay, then you, Carson, go ahead.
Why would
Answer.
you pick me of all people and not him?
Answer,
All
because you wanted
right.
to ask me when I was asking you guys. So go ahead, speak.
Okay. All right. Say the quote one more time so I can
Oh,
go in the flow, you know.
he who doesn't know one thing knows another.
Hmm. He who does not know one thing knows another. I think it means that, there's no completely dull person out there, you know. I think it just means that everyone has the area of expertise, right? You might not know this, you might not know that, but there's gonna be that one thing that you will know, right? And yeah, it's just that's it. That's literally what it means, right? You're not gonna know everything, but if you don't know everything, there's one thing that you are gonna know. And I think it ties right into our topic here, where, this job market, man, it's difficult, it's hard. And some of us did interviews for things that we had no clue about. But we did have our expertise in other areas, right? Now, if someone stepped in there and looked at us when we're just BSing, riffing out of nowhere, I'm sure we were looking sus in that scenario. But then if you put us in our comfort zone where we're good at, hey, we might thrive. Is that
Yeah.
satisfactory?
Yes, very. You did well. Clap for yourself.
Now,
Pow,
what if this was
pow,
all
pow,
BS
pow,
and I just
pow.
made this up and it has nothing to do with that? What would you say?
Then I would have told you you're wrong. Simple.
Uh, as if you knew.
I knew. Please.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
This one I
Okay.
knew. When I don't know
Oh,
what a quote is, I'll admit to saying I don't know what it is, but this one I knew.
this one you knew. Okay. As
Yes.
long as you know this one.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks. Am I correct in my assessment on the Nino? I don't know.
You're very correct.
Oh.
You're very correct. You know,
So far, I've not been wrong in any of these proverbs, or
you're doing well. You know, and just to add to the whole topic that we're discussing tonight, right? Everybody
mm,
brings something unique to the table. Mm?
mm.
So you might not have all the qualification, but something about you might just trigger them to give you that job.
Boom. Honestly, honestly,
And it's not
like,
DEI.
And it's
yeah, no
what?
more DEI.
Oh.
No more DEI. Funny thing about DEI, I actually got added to a channel, a Slack channel, at work.
Mm.
And I'm looking at the channel said talent something. What was it? It said talent something. It was like a talent team, right? I get added there. You get added to a Slack channel. You can scroll up sometimes and you can see different things. And I looked up and I saw that talent team name was changed. It was before it was called Talent Team, sorry, Team Talent DEI. But in May, when Trump took over,
Mm-hmm.
anything DEI I don't want to see anymore. So they changed, I think, completely. I said, hey. So people that were getting hired because of DEI,
Mm-hmm.
even just the word DEI is taboo now, apparently.
It's gone, man.
Yeah, man. So if you're getting a job now, there's a great chance that you earned it.
Shake on.
I'm telling you, not like
DEI
you didn't
wasn't
earn it
even
before.
for us to begin with, please. It was mainly for white women. But okay.
Really? Wait, tell us more.
Yeah, DEI was crossing. D People think that DEI helped black people a lot, which it did, but the percentage that it helped wasn't really that tremendous. DEI
Mm,
was mainly helped white women out of all things because technically white women are a minority because of the fact that they are women. So if you hire a woman, you do qualify for DEI. So
mm.
it helped white women out of everybody to get a job. The percentage that it helped black people is really not that much.
Who was second? I feel like I have an idea who was second then.
I don't, I think it
I
was
think it's the
like,
Alphabet.
I think it was Jewish people next.
Oh, Alphabet was not next.
I think they were like they were third or something.
Alphabet was third place, and they were okay being third
There's
place.
some like it was there's some like it we all I know is
Man,
that black people
You
were
know
the
what I mean by
absolute
Alphabet, right?
last.
we know
Yes,
now.
I know what you mean.
Okay, I'm just
I
making
say
sure because I'm
LGBTQ
like,
now.
Well, and they're making
bro, that's
bathroom
too much.
changes.
Yeah, I'm yo.
So when they keep on complaining about like DEI is for black people, it really wasn't for black folks. Like it
Uh,
didn't help us out that much.
uh,
That's why you saw on some companies like me, I'm a nurse. That's why like I would only be the only black nurse or like the second or third nurse because it's like as soon as they get that one black person, it's okay.
done.
They're done.
Mission
Finished.
accomplished. Mission
Uh,
accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
damn, damn, damn. The
But
world we live in.
before we get to actually getting the job, right? We already know that before you get a job, you have to go through the whole interview process. Well, even before that, you gotta apply. All right. You have to apply. Um, HR is gonna reach out to you. Well, not HR, the recruiter is gonna reach out to you.
Recruiter is HR.
Oh, well, really?
Yeah,
Auto.
they're
Uh,
under HR umbrella.
every day you learn new things here. So the recruiter is gonna reach out to you, the initial screening. That's where you start, putting your best foot forward. As we
Uh,
say it, as we say it in Le Continent. Speaking of the continent.
you feel me? That
Um,
foot is not forward. Backwards
yeah.
always.
So we start putting our best foot forward. They screen you, they ask you about, your experience, they ask you about your qualifications, and then that big question. So how much you're looking at? You know, like give us a range of what you're looking for as far as compensation. And once you go through that now, they say, okay, we're going to give you information to the hiring manager and then they'll get back to you. Right? That's step one. Now, if they like you, then they reach out to you now actually schedule the interview. Now, different jobs, you might have one interview. Some jobs you might have three. Some jobs you might have up to even 8 interviews. And there are some interviews where it's a panel. It's not just one person. You're being interviewed by three, four, sometimes maybe 5 people. So you're sitting there, you have to be looking left, looking right, looking left, answering everybody's question. So, Queen K, our topic, right? Like we said, it's just how do you go about navigating there? I know for the two of you guys recently switched jobs. And also both of you guys switched cities because of jobs, right? Amongst other things.
hmm
So, how was that process like? Just apply. I know Carson used to apply. How many jobs were you applying for every day?
Bruh, when I was doing external, 50 a day,
Sheesh.
for quite a while, for months. When I was doing internal, sometimes it would be 10, sometimes it would be one, because I would run out of jobs to apply to.
Mm.
Uh, so I know internal, I put in overall in like 4-month period, I put in 500 applications, give or take, and I did 22 interviews.
Wow, that's not a good ratio.
Hey, it's crazy. You know what? Before it was 1 for 1. I put in one application, bam.
One,
But I mean, it's a testament of the market, no, that we're in, and we'll talk a little bit about the
Literally.
politics that comes into play later on. But yeah, okay.
That's what a lot of people are going through in this job market at this point. I really feel bad for folks, but I'm lucky enough to say mine wasn't that way. So, luckily, I'm blessed to be in the healthcare field. I am, if you guys didn't know, I am a nurse. So, but I also heard that current new grad nurses, people that just graduated from nursing schools, are having a very hard time looking for jobs.
hmm.
So I came out of nursing school at a perfect time because I didn't have a hard time looking for jobs. Because right now, new grads, the problem are having is that all the experienced nurses are all gone. Like they're
Hmm.
retiring or just quitting. So we don't have that many experienced nurses now. So with all these new grads coming in, companies don't want to just keep on hiring new grad because they need experienced nurses. So I'm technically an experienced nurse because I've been a nurse for 2 years. So they rather hire me because I have some type of experience than somebody that just came out. And the good thing is that I'm a cardiac nurse. So, and that's what companies are like begging for. And my specialty is I'm not an ICU nurse, but I'm right underneath ICU. So my patients are sick enough where I can't have multiple of them because if in a blink of an eye, those people can go straight to the ICU. And since it's like cardiac is heart, if people don't know that, and since they have
Yeah,
heart issues,
not to cut you off, right? Some of us are not in medicine. So we are giving acronyms. ICU.
that's what I said.
Be
I'm
telling
sorry,
us what it
What is
ICU.
it,
means.
intensive care unit?
Thank you. Good
Yeah,
job,
some of
Justin.
us,
Now, come on, clap for
I'm
yourself.
telling you.
I mean, I knew what it
Intensive
meant.
care
It's just for our
unit.
listeners. Where
And then PCU is progressive, right?
Yes.
Mm.
What woman have you been around?
Hey, come on now.
My favorite is the NICU.
No, that shouldn't be a favorite because that's the saddest one. Those neonatal babies. Ah, I can't do it. But yeah, ICU stands for intensive care unit. Those are the people that like death is at their door. Death is probably already touching them if we're being quite honest. So they're like so many lines connected to them. They're just like I said, death is actually looking at them or has one hand on their foot.
Mm.
So my unit is right underneath them. So they're very, very sick, but in a blink of an eye, they could be in the ICU. So that's why with me, when I'm interviewing, I don't have to apply for a lot of jobs because, like I said, there's not a lot of nurses out here anymore. We can't, let me not even get to that nursing field. Please, if you want to be a nurse, don't become one. This thing is stressful. There's a reason why nurses are quitting. But I don't really have to, I applied once and got the job. So
Wow.
because it helps with my experience that I have 2 years and me being a heart nurse, it definitely helps. And me being right underneath ICU, it definitely helps. So I just did an interview and then I got the job. So it wasn't really that hard for me, per se.
So let's talk interviewing, right? I know right after you apply for a job, right, you start scheduling your interviews. Luckily for you, it was 1 for 1, so you didn't have to really worry about. But how was the interview process like? Do you have to like prepare? Is there like a process for nurses to prepare for interviews, or it's just straight out?
Yes.
There is?
So there's typical questions that they're gonna ask,
Mm-hmm.
and they might ask you clinical questions. So clinical questions means that like they'll give you a scenario that
Mm,
might happen in the hospital with your patient. Like if a patient codes, what it means by codes, it means that if a patient codes, that means that their heart stops working. Like their heart either goes into a deadly rhythm that can kill them if they stand for long, or their heart just completely stops beating. So they'll give you different scenario and then you have to answer it, and they're trying to see if you're going to be a safe nurse and if you actually truly know what it is that you're doing. So based upon that, that can help them figure out if they want to hire you or not. And then they have like their typical like nursing questions, that interview questions that they ask you. I not even gonna lie, I don't prepare for these interviews. I just go in there and answer. You should prepare for the interviews because honestly and truly, they will not hire you, especially if you answer the clinical questions wrong and if you seem like you're a very unsafe nurse and you don't know what you're doing, that will not you will not get the job. But me personally, I trust myself and I know what I'm doing, so
Hmm.
and
And that's
I know how to butter these people up.
So since you have sense, right? Since you have sense, what's code blue?
What's what?
Code blue.
What I just said with your heart. Code blue, that's what it means.
Okay, okay. What is code orange?
That one is I don't know. That doesn't have to do with people. There's code red, which is a fire. There's code pink, I think that's a baby. Code
That's
orange, I have no
abduction.
clue. Huh?
Abduction is pink. When somebody
Oh,
abducts a baby.
that's what I mean by pink, baby
Yeah.
abduction.
Okay, okay. You're doing well. You're doing well. Yeah, I
My
mean,
main concern is code blue.
yeah, I figured people with um the heart, I mean, they need immediate attention. Hmm?
Yep, everybody run to that room now.
Yeah, I mean, for us in IT, right? I think it's well, I'm not say it's similar. It depends. Because a lot of IT in IT field, right, is mostly technical skills, right? Similar to how nursing you have like specialties, right? In because medicine is very broad. Same with IT, right? You have special different skills. To your point, you're in cardiac, some people specialize in brain, some people is whatever it is, right? There's different kind of specialties in nursing. Similar to IT, right? You have your your Scrum Masters, you have your DevOps people, so on and so forth. So for us, you're gonna go through probably like three interviews, right? One will be technical. They're pretty much assessing your technical skills. You could do sort of ask you like very technical questions, like, okay, when this happens, where do you go? What do you do? Things like that. So for those kind of things, I think that's the one that you really prep because a lot of times the person interviewing you might be looking at a particular screen that they assume that you've seen that screen before, and you know what's on that screen. So they're going to ask you, where is this particular thing, and what is being used for. So that one, I think most people always spend a lot of time preparing for because if you get through that, I think the following ones now, maybe it's just gonna be like some behavioral questions, just trying to see if you fit the culture of the company. Once you get to the technical interview, I think if you're smart, it's easy from there. Some people they want to kind of opening their mouths and saying one thing or another, they go and mess up. But one thing I always say is that experience, you can't beat experience. You cannot, you
Literally.
can never beat experience. Because when you get to this question, they'll be like, tell me about a time when you had this scenario, blah, 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 blah. How did you fix it? No, you've never been in that situation. You'd be like, how can I give a BS answer that makes sense? Right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think for me, once I get through the technical one, everything else, I'm just using experience. I just go and say, okay, yeah, let's talk. Let's talk experience.
so I think I agree with what you're saying, right? But I think one thing that we're to bring up as well, which I've in my vast experience of interviewing, um, some people don't know how to conduct interviews, and it shows, right? If we think about it, a lot of times, a lot of the interviews we take, especially those technical interviews, it gets away from the whole point of the interview. An interview is supposed to be finding the right candidate, right? Just
Mm,
like how you go to school, some people are great at taking tests, others are not. right? They know the knowledge, but they just suck it. They might get nervous and things like that. And if you're taking an interview, sometimes people get nervous or the tone of the person or how you the person even asks the questions, like they don't give you any assistance, you might actually end up failing that interview when you're actually more qualified than the next candidate there. So I think it's one thing to point out for those some of the people who are actually doing interviews or not taking interviews, uh, conducting the interviews, right? Like, take an interview course, bro. Like, please, like, take an interview course
Is that
because
for the interviewer or the interviewee?
for the interviewer, like, because at my current company, like, we have to take courses on how to interview first before anything, right? Because a lot of times people bring the biases to interviews. You're not supposed to do that. So things are supposed to be concise, clear, and very, very, what do you call it? Transparent or whatever,
Objective, yeah.
neutral, objective. Yeah, exactly. And some people don't have that. And also too is like, bruh, if you see someone struggling there and like you can actually do your best to help them out, right? It's the conversation piece as well. And I don't think a lot of people really understand that part.
Oh yeah, that definitely makes sense. Because if you think about it, right, with the whole DI thing where, some people
Mhm.
just want to hire you for the sake of DI. I think I saw an article that this one company posted many jobs, or they were hiring for DEI position, but they never actually hired anyone. They were just hiring to make it look like they were actually trying to
They
get,
posted, yeah.
yeah, something like that.
I've been a
Um,
victim.
so they're just so pretty much you apply for the job, right? I mean the job technically does not exist, but they post it anyway. So you
Yep.
apply and thinking that, oh, I'm gonna get a job. So you're pretty much at that interview just wasting your time.
Yeah. Like,
You're
quite
basically just
frankly.
wasting your time. Yeah.
Like, I think I told you, at least this one, the job actually existed, but I think I told you one of the interviews I did, I was perfect. No feedback for me, nothing. The lady was just like, yeah, the person before applied 3 times. So they gave it to that person instead of me. Like, literally verbatim. That was all bro. I was just like, what in the world? Like, what can you do? But these are things that happen. Like, I've been on the other end where they posted up a role, and we know that that role is not going to get filled, but they just have to
Hmm.
post it for legal reasons,
Yeah,
just to say that, or they'll post the role, but like, we already know who's going to get the job. Like, we
correct.
literally know. Like, I benefited from that beforehand because I interviewed for a previous role, and then they gave it to someone else, but she was like, "Oh, we'll just use your interview for this one. I still have to post the role, but we're not gonna do any interviews. We're just posting it." I'm like, okay, and I benefited that time, but I'm sure there's plenty of other times that obviously it worked out against my favor.
Corporate America 101.
Right.
The
The
streets are
worst,
the
man.
street the streets are hard, man. The
Beyond.
streets are hard. But think
Huh.
but going back to interview, right? Do you think that sometimes we tend to over prepare?
Yes, and that's exactly why I don't.
Really? I don't think so. What do you mean
Yes
over
and no,
prepare?
because the thing that I've realized, especially in my field, right? It's like you have to give them what they want to hear, but at the same time, not overtly. Don't give them everything because I've had I've had uh 2 jobs, 3 jobs in my healthcare and two jobs in as a nurse. And every single time I've interviewed, they've always said that they like the fact that the things that I've said is not what they want to hear because they understand certain questions are going to lead to people saying what the company wants them to say. And they told me that, yes, they like it and they hate it, and they like the fact that I admit to my faults. So that's one strategy I love to do because I know that these companies don't always want to hear, they know that you know what they want, and they want to find somebody who's not going to say exactly what they want to hear. They want something different. So, like for example, they would ask me, what is my best skills or something, And I will admit to them like, okay, so I have this, that, and the third, but at the same time, I'm not too great at this. And I will explain why I'm not great at this and how what I'm trying to do to become better, to be great at this. And
Mm.
the companies eat it up, especially healthcare field. They eat it up because it shows they want to see somebody who knows, who can recognize their faults and wants to improve on it. It's in especially in like um leadership positions and all that type of stuff. So don't give them everything that they want to hear. You have to be different in a way. You have to stand out, and by standing out is by you admitting to your faults and saying what you can improve on yourself without them asking you. Because I know some questions asked, they will ask you like, what are some negatives about yourself and whatnot. And with that question, when people say, "Oh, I don't really have any negative things to say about myself," you don't have the job. Simple. You're not getting the job. You have to be, in a way, truthful, but make it sound nice.
A
So
white
yeah,
lie.
that's why I don't prepare because it's just like I know how to talk to these people. I know what.
But hold on, how is that over preparing though?
No, no, no. Oh, sorry, my bad. That's
Because you
not.
went on a whole tangent and talked about nothing about over preparing, like
You're most definitely
nothing.
right. But no, but over preparing, if you over prepare, I feel like with that, you're giving them exactly what they want to hear. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes,
How?
I'm saying like in healthcare field because like they give you the interview questions and we in the healthcare field, they tell us what they're gonna say. And if you over prepare, like I said, you're telling them exactly what they want to hear and they don't want to hear exactly what they want to hear.
I don't see how over preparing is telling them what they want to hear. If I can over prepare, I can prepare exactly what I want to say, how I want to say it, exactly how I want to say it. And it could be nothing that they want to hear.
But it's not inherently bad. I'm not saying over preparing is a bad thing. I said it's okay.
No,
It,
the thing is, right? If you think about what I meant by being over prepared in the sense that you're, it's like cramming, right? You cram certain things that you want to say. Now, if they don't ask you those questions, you're pretty much fucked, right? In the sense that you prepared so much that you pretty much crammed all your answers and potential questions that they might ask. Now, if they ask you different questions that you didn't prepare for, now you're stuck.
So
exactly.
wouldn't that be under preparing in that sense?
No, not
Because to me, that's what
necessarily.
you just defined, under
I mean,
preparing.
there's two parts, right? There's under preparing where for example, right? Preparing in the sense that say you're not new, right? You have experience in that field, right? Which is
Hmm.
pretty much my example, right? Because I'm going through the process, right? That's my example, right? Meaning that I've been in the field, right? So I have the experience in the sense that I don't necessarily have to like look through a lot of material, right? Now,
Yeah.
someone who is new in the field, right? Maybe they're taking what they learn in school and saying, okay, these are the things I think are important that I should focus on. So they focus on just those particular topics. Now, the person doing the interview might not ask those questions.
Yeah. So that would be, to me, that you're defining not being prepared. Because to me, if you say over prepared or adequately prepared, it
Mm,
means I've covered literally every single thing and I'm ready for any and everything that you throw at me. You might not throw everything that I prepared for,
mm.
but I know any and everything you possibly could ask me, I'm ready for. And I'll be willing and able to answer that. Now, if you don't ask me something, then hey, I just over prepared.
So what about, let's say, if you over prepare, right? It's like you cram all your answers, right? Does it kind of prevent you from being like going back to Karen's point, right? Your authentic self in the sense that you're talking about you now in the sense that you're talking about your weaknesses, your strengths, things more like more personal skills versus actually technical skills.
Not necessarily, because even to use the same example that Karen talked about when they always ask about your areas of opportunity, when I
Mm-hmm.
was doing mock interviews and at least 20 people, we all done this stuff, we asked those specific questions and we talked about how to answer those questions and we give feedback based on those questions themselves. So I can
Mm-hmm.
answer that question. I can give you three separate examples just off that specific question because I prepared enough to where I can when I was doing interviews, when there was a point where I wasn't preparing at all. And then I saw someone who was brilliant and I was like, oh shoot, I need to actually prepare. And I would actually over prepare to the point where it's like whatever questions they asked, I would typically have about 2 to 3 examples. And I would sit there and I'd be like, let me think of which example I want to use with this question. And I would say it out loud for them. So they know like, oh, this is not just whatever, like I've been there, done that. And now I'm just picking and fine tuning whichever response I want to give you.
Yeah, and that's where
And
the
that's because I
experience
was over
comes in, right?
prepared. Well, experience and also preparation. Like I was literally over prepared and I made sure I had multiple examples because I don't know, depending on how you ask the question and depending on who you are, when I
Mm.
talk to you, based on the rapport that we built, I might use an example to make a stronger connection because of something I learned from you in that interview. And that's where the over preparation comes into place. If I didn't over prepare, I would have just used whatever it is that I came up with initially.
Yeah, sense. So what about people, what about interviewers that are basically using Google to give you an interview? Like they're pretty much just going to Google, typing the
Yep.
position, and then just pretty much ask you questions that they don't even know the answers to. So pretty much whatever
Yeah.
you tell them,
They
they're just
do
gonna nod.
that?
Yes.
Yeah, they do that. And that's also what we do to prep for the interviews as well. And frankly, we also prep for when you don't know the answer. How do you respond when you don't know the answer?
Oh yeah. People
So it's
literally sit there.
like, yeah,
And that's the thing, right? If someone is using Google to interview you, it shows, I guess, it shows bad on the company side and also that person. Maybe at the same time, it's one of the jobs where they're not really looking to hire anybody. They're just
yep.
trying to waste time and saying that, oh, they're interviewing people. All right, because someone was sitting there and be like, oh, my next question is
Google it.
um they don't know. They don't have one. They're Googling.
Yeah. And it's like they're just assholes too sometimes. Like you just want to have that got you moment. Like, oh, gotcha. You don't know this.
Yeah, exactly. But now it's like you don't even know the answer to the question, so yeah, you're
Yeah.
asking. So how do you know if I'm wrong or not?
And that
Wow.
thing has happened to me before, and I've asked them that question back. I was like, I'm not sure. That's a very good question. When they ask you, oh, what question do you have?
Yeah.
I re-asked that question back to them. How would you answer this? And there's been a few times where they've not known. Like I would do my best to answer it, but I'm like, okay, well,
Uh-huh.
I think I did well with this, but how would you answer this question? I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Yep.
And they'd
Yep.
be like, oh,
Yep.
let me give it to this person. And nobody on the panel. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Point made. Point made.
Bro, I'm petty, bro.
Speaking of questions, though, right? I know they always say it's good to come with a few questions, right, for your interviewer, because the whole thing about interviews is it's supposed to be a conversation, right?
Yep.
It's supposed to be a conversation where um it's back and forth dialogue, right? Because I think most times people go into interviews and they're scared. They feel like it's how do I put it? Interrogation session, right?
Hmm.
It's pretty much being interrogated, and then the panic, right? So even when you come prepared, just the fact that and that's something that even I think going back to what Carson said, some people are just terrible at taking exams, and people are just terrible at interviews. But if they were to, get that opportunity, they might be the best damn employee. All right. And going back to our proverb where it talks about if you're not good at one thing, you're great at another. So you can be terrible at interviews, you can be terrible at taking exams, but you might be the one that ends up in the OR saving lives because you just have that technical skill and that knowledge. But as far as exams are concerned, you panic, right? You panic. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, but I know we were talking before I went into my little ramble there. I know it's always important to come with questions for who is interviewing you, right? So how do you determine the kind of question for that interview? Queen K, did you ask your interviewer questions?
Oh
Or
yeah,
you
you
just
always have to. You always have to.
why do you have to though?
Because one, it shows the company that you care
Mm-hmm.
enough to ask them questions. And two, it's good for us to have questions for the company so that we know ourselves if this is the position that we want to take. Because
Mm,
yes, they're asking us and they want to see if we are a good candidate, but at the same time, you want to know if this is a company you truly want to work for. I mean, sadly, in the economy that we're in right now, not a lot of people have that privilege to deny um jobs, but like I was saying, this is like you want to know, oh, yes, this is how they treat not even just like treat, just ask your questions what you want to know about that company because you're going to be there for a while. So if you're going to be there for a while, at least get to know it. So I like to ask, do I typically ask? I typically ask what it is it that they want from me, like what they want from this position, like what type of, sorry, excuse me, what type of characteristics they want from this from me in this position, what is their expectation, um and just I can't really think of it right now, but those are the main things that I ask. And what's the, as a nurse, what's the ratio that we have on the floor, if we're down a nurse, what happens typically? Do we take that load? Do we close beds? Is those are important questions to me so that I know that I'm not going to be in a predicament where I hate where I work. So,
Hmm. Well, to pretty much get to that, to saying similar things to what Karen said, right? I think for me, two things. One, if you don't have an insightful question, I'd rather you not have a question at all. Simple as that. Typically, I would come with one question already predetermined. The next question that I have is going to be based on the conversation, based on the interview that we're doing at that point in time. One, it showcases that I'm actually actively listening, and
mhm.
also that I'm adaptable and I can think on the fly because I'm going to reference what you said before I state my question. Now, I think a key part about the question to bring to the interview is because it's an opportunity for you to dictate the tone of that interview, but also an opportunity for you to sell yourself even more so than you've done already before. And what I mean by that is it's an opportunity for you to showcase your value, right? Asking a very insightful question is basically you're showcasing the foresight to look for potential areas of opportunity within that company itself. And then you're asking that specific targeted question to showcase that, hey, you might be able to provide a solution or you might be able to provide some insight on how to resolve that specific thing. So if you can do that very well, I think it goes a long way to landing a job.
Yeah, it's pretty much to showcase yourself because if you feel like the interview itself was bad,
Mm-hmm.
the question part is, I feel like that's where you can really, like Carlson said, sell yourself.
Well, yeah, I think it makes sense, right? Because if you're asking a question, just piggyback on what you guys both talked about, it just shows that you actually give a shit. Because think about it, right? If you're going to a company, say you're coming as an analyst, right? Let me use terms that will probably make sense to most people. You come in as a, let me just say intern, right? For the sake of conversation, you come in as an intern, right? But you're looking to become maybe next few years a manager, right? um you want to ask questions that make sense, right? Questions that talk about maybe culture, maybe where the company is going. That way it shows that okay, you want to be here long term, right? Because no company wants to hire you for 1 year, right? Wasting all that time to post a job, have HR chase you, do all that background check for 1 year, it's not worth it. So they are looking for someone that wants to be there for a long time. And you, if that's the company that you want to work for, I know some people out here in the streets have their dream jobs, their dream companies, and things like that. If that's your dream company, you make sure you do the hell of a lot of research for that company, find out what question that makes sense to show that, okay, I'm somebody that want to be here for 10 plus years.
Not for sure. And I think one thing to add on to what you said, right? No company wants to hire someone just for a year or so. I don't think a lot of people know why. But just to elaborate, it costs companies a lot of money to
Hmm.
hire somebody. That recruiter is getting paid, the managers is, taking extra time that they could be doing things to get, to interview, that to interview multiple candidates and stuff like that. They pay for those background checks and all that stuff that you all do. All of that comes up. typically it's about maybe 5K, 5 to 10K per just to hire someone. So when you're doing an interview, please don't make it seem like those people are doing you a favor. No, you're doing them a favor if we're being honest, because you're not just solving a need for them. The reason why they're investing that amount of money in you is because you're gonna help them more than they're gonna help you, if we're being honest. So hopefully that helps somebody's nerves.
That's why I always say lie. How long? Always make it seem. Okay, that's what I do. But what I do is I make it seem like I'm gonna be there for a long time, and that like I have steps where I wanna go to like climb up the ladder, even though I have no intentions to do so,
Wow.
because that's what they want to hear. They want to hear that you're going to be there for a long time, that you want to eventually like grow in that company. I mean, personally, I do want to grow because I want to learn as much as I can so that when I do leave, I've stacked up my resumes to the point where it's like it's undeniable that you have to hire me because it's like look at all the things I've done gained. But
Look at that.
yes.
You have to hire her. That's it. I
You
think
You don't
have
that's how
have
to
a
we
have
close,
like
choice.
right? That's how we close. You have to hire her.
We have to.
literally
That's it.
like that's
Yeah.
like please if y'all see when I showed my recruiter my resume, she said, "Oh yeah, you have the job."
Just like that.
Just like that. All
So
right.
it's like
All right. Science. Science. There we go. All right, Queen K. I think we've beat this horse dead.
Hmm.
yes, yes, we have.
Yeah. So go ahead, take us out. Take us out. Take us out.
Okay, so you've heard from us. Now you know how to have a
Give us the
not pro
wisdom.
huh?
Give us the wisdom as you take us out now. Give us the wisdom.
This is a lot of pressure. The
We
pressure
got
is
we always
getting
close with wise words. Give us the
worse.
wisdom.
The pressure is getting worse.
Huh.
Well, well, like I was saying, now you know, we've given you some insightful things of how to go about the interview process. We understand that in this economy, what's going on, it's really, really hard for some of us to even get that interview. So once you get it, make sure you prepare. Take your notes. If you can find a person to do the mock trial interviews with you, do so. Put your best foot forward and shine. Pretty much show the company that they need you. Like you are the best person for them, that they can't really deny you. And also show your personality a little bit. Show them who you are. But I don't really know how to end this well because these men do it all the time.
Yeah,
But
baby.
but yeah,
Remember
that's the
who
best I
you
can say.
are.
Like this is too much pressure. It's too much pressure.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Shikam. What?
Ah, all right. Let's end with these wise words, right? Interview, job, entrepreneurship, whatever it is, understand failure to prepare is preparing to fail. Like you
Mm,
hear, like you don't hear. Now you
mm,
know. And on that
mm.
note, it's Chef Carl, Queen K, Bel Nino. Catch you guys next week.
Good
Peace.
night.
Shikam.